Hello student, today we will start about Joule-Thomson coefficient. Before starting it, we will start with simple energy balance. So without wasting time, let's start. So energy balance for non-flowing system. In that case, the total energy will be equal to sum of its internal energy, kinetic energy and potential energy. So internal energy is denoted by U, kinetic energy is V square by 2G and potential energy is Gz. This is for non-flowing fluid. In second case, if we have flowing fluid, in that case the total energy will be equal to the PV represent the flow energy plus its internal energy U plus its kinetic energy and potential energy. So in flowing energy we have flow energy plus whatever energy we had in case of non-flowing fluid. This is represented in form of kilojoule per kg. If we represent it in kilojoule per second, then we can multiply it by m dash. M dash represent mass per unit time. For example, kg per second. Now this theta is equal to PV plus U plus V square by 2G plus Gz. This PV plus U is called enthalpy. Enthalpy is U plus PV. So this portion will be equal to H. H is enthalpy. So the total energy will be equal to H plus V square by 2G H plus its kinetic energy plus potential energy. This is represented in form of kilojoule per kg, but if you represent it in form of kilojoule per second, then you multiply it by mass flow rate of the fluid. Let's take an example for energy balance. For example, we have a closed system in which it's fluid inlet and here is fluid outlet. In this control volume there is some energy transfer, that may be energy gained by the system or lost by the system. Similarly, there is a work transfer, that work may be performed by the system or work done on the system or by the system. If we apply energy balance on this control volume, then dq by dt represents the change in energy within the control volume with respect to time. That will be equal to the amount of energy in the system minus amount of energy out of the system plus any amount of heat added or subtracted from the system. Similarly, any amount of work added or subtracted from the system. So this is a simple equation of rate of accumulation of energy equal to rate of addition of energy minus rate of extraction of energy in the control volume. So this dq by dt is equal to amount of energy in due to this fluid. So the amount of energy in will be equal to, for flowing fluid is enthalpy plus its kinetic energy plus potential energy. Its enthalpy plus kinetic energy plus potential energy minus amount of energy leaving from the control system due to this fluid outstream. So its enthalpy, velocity and kinetic energy plus potential energy plus, I am using here plus and minus sign. So whether energy gained by the system or lost by the system, we will use sign accordingly. Similarly for work, if the work is done by the system or done on the system, we will use appropriate sign. In this way we can do energy balance in any control system. So this is the basic of energy balance. We will use this energy balance in our next topic, that is the throttling valve. The throttling valve is any kind of flow restricting device that cause significant pressure drop. These are some of the example of throttling valve. It may be adjustable valve or a porous plug or a capillary tube. It means any type of device which cause significant pressure drop is called throttling valve. Now let us consider a throttling valve, any type of throttling valve. Let's say we have a porous plug throttling valve. You can choose any type of throttling valve. So they produce pressure drop without involving any type of work. There is only pressure drop. We have high pressure at the inlet and low pressure at the outlet, but there is no work involved in this process, so the W will be 0. Second, the heat transfer within this throttling valve is negligible because the size of throttling valve is very small. Secondly, fluid spent very less time in the throttling valve, so it will not allow significant amount of time to make any heat transfer. So we can simply assume the heat transfer within this throttling valve is negligible. So the Q will be 0. The Q will be 0. Also the change in potential energy and kinetic energy. The change in potential energy and kinetic energy will be 0. So if we apply these conditions in our energy balance equation, then at steady state, if we have steady state, let's go to this equation again. At steady state, this dq by dt term will be 0. We have Q and W value is equal to 0. The kinetic and potential energy again have the change in kinetic and potential energy value is again 0. So we have left with only two terms, H in and H out, the enthalpy in and enthalpy out. So we finally have only these terms. So in a throttling valve we have H1 is equal to H out. It means the enthalpy of inlet fluid will be equal to enthalpy of the outlet fluid. Now the Joule-Thomson coefficient. We know the device like refrigerator or air conditioner, the mechanism of cooling is the fluid is passed through a throttling device which causes significant temperature drop, and this is the main mechanism of cooling in this device. But this is not the case. It means throttling is it is not necessary that throttling always cause a reduction in temperature. There may be increase of temperature. So Joule-Thomson coefficient give information about the temperature behavior of the throttling device, whether it increase, decrease, what will be the magnitude of the increase or decrease of the temperature. That information is provided by Joule-Thomson coefficient. This is the equation of Joule-Thomson coefficient. This mu is called Joule-Thomson coefficient, that is equal to del T by del P at constant enthalpy, because the throttling process is a constant enthalpy process. this m equal to del T by del P at constant enthalpy. If the mu or the Joule-Thomson coefficient value is less than 0, in that case the temperature will increase after the throttling process, and if the mu value is 0, it means the temperature will remain constant, and if this mu value is greater than 0, then there will be a decrease in temperature. So the refrigerator or air conditioner will work only if the Joule-Thomson coefficient value is greater than 0. Otherwise, if its value is equal to 0 or greater than 0, then the refrigerator or the air conditioner will not work, and we will not get temperature reduction through this device. Now if we plot this in TP diagram, in that case let's assume we have a fluid at a temperature P1 and T1, and this fluid passed through a throttling device, and the exit fluid having temperature and pressure is P2 and T2. So in this graph let us assume this is the inlet temperature and pressure, that is P1, and the temperature is T1, and outlet temperature is some value at P2 and T2. Now the inlet temperature and pressure is fixed at P1 and T1, but the exit temperature and pressure will vary depending upon the size of throttling device. If we change the size of this throttling device, then the exit temperature and pressure will also change. So in this case we fix inlet temperature and pressure, that is P1 and T1, and vary the size of the throttling device, and due to variation of size we will get exit different temperature and pressure at the exit stream. Let's say at first case we will get the temperature and pressure is this one, in second case we will get temperature and pressure this one, third case we will get this temperature and pressure, and so on. So in this case we will able to plot this graph, because throttling process is a constant enthalpy process. So this will be a constant enthalpy graph in which the inlet stream having some temperature and pressure, and outlet stream will have temperature and pressure depending upon the size of throttling device. So in this way we can plot constant enthalpy line. Now assume second case. In that we will change inlet temperature and pressure, like in this case we had inlet temperature and pressure is P1 T1. In second case we will have temperature and pressure for example P2 T2, like this. Like in first case we choose this value of pressure and temperature as inlet condition. In the second case we have different value of inlet temperature and pressure value. Again we will change the size of throttling device, and due to change in size of the throttling device we will get different value of outlet temperature and pressure, and similarly we will plot this line, this second line. Similarly for changing inlet temperature and pressure we will get this third line and fourth line, and similarly we can draw different. So in this manner we can draw different constant enthalpy lines. So if you observe these constant enthalpy line, it follows a pattern in such a manner that the line initially this line go up, go to maximum level and then decline. Here again the slope increases, then here it go to maximum level and then start to decline. But as temperature increases, this portion, the increasing slope portion of the line start to decrease, and at some temperature this increasing trend completely vanished. So in the left hand side we have positive slope of the line, and in the negative side of this line we have negative value of the slope. And at the top of the line the slope value will be 0. Here we have positive slope, here we have negative slope, and at the maximum or peak of this line the value of slope will be 0. Here there will be inversion of the line, the slope of the line from positive to negative. So here the value of slope will be 0. So if we combine this 0 slope point, then we will get this graph, this line. Okay, and this line is called inversion line because at this point the slope changes its value from positive to negative or vice versa. So in the left side of this inversion line, the Joule coefficient value have positive value. It means the decrease of the temperature will take place due to throttling. And in the right hand side the Joule Thomson coefficient has negative value. It means there will be an increase of temperature due to throttling. And at this inversion line the value of mu is 0. It means there will not be any variation of temperature due to throttling. This inversion line touches y-axis at this point. At this point it touches the inversion line. This point. So this point is called maximum inversion temperature. This is the point at which the pressure is 0 and this inversion line touches y-axis. So this is the maximum temperature below which the temperature reduction effect cannot be observed due to throttling process. And that's why it is called maximum inversion temperature, below which throttling effect which not observed for temperature reduction. So if we apply energy balance, then for any particular line, because it's a constant enthalpy line, the energy balance will be equal to H1 equal to H2. It means the inlet energy will be, inlet enthalpy value will be equal to outlet enthalpy value, and the enthalpy is equal to U1 plus P1 V1. U1 is internal energy and P1 V1 is flow energy. It means enthalpy is summation of internal energy plus flow energy. So this enthalpy or U1 plus P1 V1 is constant. It means the summation of internal energy and flow energy is constant. If, for example, P2 V2 is greater than P1 V1, it means to compensate that U2 will be less than U1. It means we have less internal energy in the outlet stream. It means the temperature will decrease because it has low value of internal energy. Similarly, if P1 V1 is greater than P2 V2, then this U2 will be higher than U1 and we will get an increase in temperature. So in this manner we can find whether the temperature will increase or decrease. This one is change in enthalpy equation which we have derived in our previous class. Is dH equal to Cp/dT plus V minus T del V by del T at constant pressure dP. Here the H1 is equal to H2. It means the dH will be 0 because there is no variation in enthalpy. Enthalpy is constant. So this dH will be 0. So if we put dH equal to 0 and rearrange this equation, finally we will get this expression. So by using this expression we can calculate Joule-Thomson coefficient. Okay, so this is our final expression. So this is end of today's class. If you have any question, you can ask me anytime. Thank you.